Are you ready? Can you see Ed?
Yeah.
All right, because we're rolling. Everybody ready? Yeah, I know you can't really see it. Just got to take for granted that he opens there. And we got outtakes on this. But here we are in Coach's Corner Crew Sunday. What is this, February 22nd? Guys, this is the Coach's Corner Crew, and it's the episode that we've basically been talking about doing since the day we started this thing, the CYO episode. We finally got organized and semi-organized and ready to go. We got guests with us here today, but our regular members, we got Rob up there at the top. We got Brandon over here. Mike's with us today. Sorry, Travis, he's a former CYO player too. And Wes couldn't be with us, but we'll be talking about them as the day goes on. And we got guests here today, the famous Hall of Fame coach, Eddie Moster. Everybody knows him. One of the original players, and should we give him props for his reffing?
No, absolutely.
Okay, and along with Rob, probably rep the most CYO games. John Kuntz, one of the original restarted players. So guys, what do you think? Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting us.
Well, sorry if Brad Stacy would in here, we'd had some secret refreshment for you. But we don't have any of that today. But it's a snowy old day outside, and it's been about a month since we had our last podcast there at Laurel. So Brandon, catch us up on we got Franklin County news.
Yeah.
We want to open up with that because there's been a lot of exciting stuff before we get into the CYO history.
So girls basketball season came to an end. They lost in the sectional tournament to Lawrenceburg. Jennings County went on to win that sectional and then win the regional, and they lost in the semi-state championship last night. Wrestling ended last weekend at Newcastle in the semi-state. We had 7 boys go to the semi-state tournament. One boy made it to the second round, the blood round, to punch his ticket, and then lost by 3 in that round. Boys basketball sectional draw is tonight. That will be played at South Dearborn.
You stay on Channel 4.
They got 2 home games left. They got Tuesday night against Geo Next Generation, and Friday they go to Northeastern to play in the sectional tournament.
Whoa, you reffing one of them games?
Nope, somebody here is.
Oh my gosh. And I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Say it.
Who the heck is Geo Next Generation Academy? We've been trying to figure this out.
So
we looked up their record.
It's a legit high school. They're just not sanctioned by the IHSA as an official IHSA school. So they're trying to become a sanctioned school to play in all sports. So they have to play so many games and get a bunch of different sanctioned teams. So
I thought it was one of them Rob Allen homeschool teams he liked to use.
Well, did you know that under the way it is now, that our CYO teams could have sanctioned and played a high school team? Union. We could have played Union High School. They played the Laurel Panthers. It has been Eddie, we've been coaching in high school ranks.
There you go,
Our
Rob.
video already did.
What's
We gotta
that?
make sure the referee doesn't fall down on his butt
Well,
during refereeing this year like he did last year.
Hey, John, I'll give you $20 to throw them out as soon as that game starts on Friday or Tuesday. I'll give you $20 right now.
That's a good night.
As soon as it starts.
We're supposed to be on the same page here.
Oh, we are.
Right now, many times, that was a good one.
referee on referee crime, but John did have, and I'm going to give you props for that. The day he got tripped up by a player, he went down pretty hard, but he got right up and made the call. And I mean, he went right into the call. And I said to Brad Stacy, I said, would I love to have that on video? That was before we did this show, obviously, but that should be played before every game as a blooper of how to referee a game. So.
Can we get on with the rest of the Franklin County stuff? Let's get on me.
We started with the homeschool teams and ended up with John Kuntz.
We're going to have a lot of fun here today, everybody. But Brandon, as we all do here, want to give great props. Friday night, of course, was Beat Cancer in 4 quarters night. I'm mad that I forgot Rob's Chuckaduck he made me. I wanted to have that right in the front. The Beat Cancer, Fayette County, Franklin County. You give the results. You guys and Tanya are the ones doing the work. Give it to us.
So yeah, every year we do a fundraiser between us and Connorsville that the school that raises the most money gets this traveling trophy. This year combined between Franklin County and Connorsville raised $26,000, and Franklin County was $16,000 of that $26,000 this year. So we retained the trophy another time.
Outstanding.
Stepped up a little bit, didn't he?
Connorsville did really good. I was really happy for them, impressed. I mean, that's the most, like 2 or 3 years ago, they only raised like $3,000. So they've gotten way better, and I'm happy for them. I think it's going to be a little more of a fun competition now. We'll get a little bit closer.
Well, it's all doing for the right thing, no matter if it's Union County or John Doe down the street. And these guys work hard on it. Tanya Wertz, Brandon, the students who volunteer, the other people who they had the Moo-a-thon or whatever that was.
That was
Taco Bell.
50 minutes.
Oh, get a Taco Bell.
Instead of Taco Bell.
So Rob's probably right. I hope he saw the video. It was just basically a cow staring at the camera.
Yeah, the scout staring at the camera.
But good
We used to do it
idea.
in 4-H back in the day.
Yeah, nonetheless, a good idea. So, and again, the high scores getting close to the end of a basketball season. Seems like it's blinked by in a heartbeat. But to all our athletes in the winter sports, Travis is here with us, and we've always had a tendency to talk about Ruby some and the whole girls team. Ruby was all conference again, am I right on that?
Third straight
So
year.
congratulations, 3 years, what a career she's had, along with the other seniors, Jalen, and what's that?
Well, no, Cox got something too, didn't you?
She was
don't know
an
yet.
academic
Well,
great.
that's a good thing.
But then we got Rachel Ruff is still competing in gymnastics.
Oh.
I forget what her sectional is. I don't know when that one is. And then Chloe Bills ended her season at the state championship
Yeah.
this year for girls wrestling.
So they just all did a great job, and to all the players, ladies and men, and all the coaches and the volunteer staff, and the sectional that was held at Franklin County. I want to give props to our staff on that. Got a lot of compliments on how Franklin County ran that. And I'm not being biased, but I thought everybody did do a good job. It was well ran. Great crowd that championship game night.
place is packed.
Cheerleaders for both teams. It was old school basketball, and I was excited to be a small part of it. So, but these guys were the brains and the backbone of everything, and Dustin and Brad and him, Brandon and Jeremy and all the staff. So congratulations. But with that being said, I want to get to the purpose why we're here today. Well, we wanted to do this, guys, back at St. Michael Gym. But it's not as easy to get back there, and it wasn't our old gym, it's the new gym, but it's Brandon's gym, and we coached in it, but Heaven, we're at the Heaven Gym. So we're at the old BHS gym. Our next podcast is going to be about the gym with history on the BHS years. So we're not going to go into all that today, but on that day we'll give a tour of the place, like how we did in the Laurel one. So it's about time we gave props to the BHS, and we got it well represented back there by those guys. And BHS grad here, BHS grad here, BHS grad there, and proud 87 back there. So, yeah, Franklin County, Baden, Franklin County. But why we're here today is to talk about the CYO years in our era. Now, quick history. CYO, before we got back into it in the early 80s, had went on for years. I got that picture of Jimmy Lang and Scott Bunderhyde. I don't have it here. But, there'd always been CYO. But it had taken a few years of break, and that's because they got in trouble a lot. But Dave White had coached it. Yeah, imagine that. Dave White had coached it. But I'll go ahead and get into history. I better keep my glasses on. So in 84, Gary Lawson, who's proud number 6, is here today. He was the Dr. J of CYO basketball. And he got us organized. Senior in high school. We were all buddies here at lunchtime. Right on that goal right there. I think Gary Lawson was the all-time leading scorer of lunchtime legends. Him and Matt Brandstetter and John Wilhelm or somebody, Lenny Reese. But anyway, we got organized, and Gary really got us organized. And then Mr. O'Brien, of course, jumped in and said he would coach us till he found us a full-time coach. So here we go. We're in the Batesville Deanery. We're getting organized. Bob had held a few practices for us. And we start out the season. And John, what do you remember about our first game?
We had T-shirts that we wrote our numbers on because we were a bunch of misfits.
We hadn't had these jerseys in. Gary got them from Athletic Arena. No more longer business. So we got T-shirts. Everybody's writing on each other's back. I don't think we had shorts that matched. But Gary said we got pulverized that game. But if I remember, we only lost by 2 points in that game.
That's on you guys.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
So, Gary, I think we had our things. But the shirts came the next week. And Jay Taylor thought he still had his shirt. Jay sent me a picture of his number 13, but I couldn't get my printer to work this morning. Power was out at Brockman. So anyway, we get into the season and we lose our first 2 games. Bob O'Brien coached the first 4 games, and we're like 0-2. And then we got organized. We got to know each other better, blended well as a team. I'm going to go ahead and say these guys' names that were on that initial team. We had 10 players, which was a lot for CYO. Gary Lawson, Shane Blair. Shane was a senior. Mark Wildman started about the 4th game. He came later, and he helped us out a lot. Big, strong dude. Mark Drewis was our Bill Lambier. He came in and roughed people up if we needed him. Kevin Amrine, myself, John Kuntz, Jay Taylor, Kelly Naylor. I'll let Eddie go into Kelly later on. And Todd Phillips played that year before he went back out for high school. So we had a good team. And then about the 5th game, we thought we had a new coach, and we're all close to him. I feel him shake his head there. I wish Wes was here. Steve Weber coached us a game. And Steve was going to be the coach the rest of the year. And everybody knows Steve, mailman here in town, worked at the liquor store, all around. How would you say it, Huff? Just great guy.
Just, do anything for you.
Friend to everybody. We know that he sadly passed years ago, but he's never forgotten. But Steve coached us one game, and I remember who loved it more than anybody was Kelly Naylor, because Steve was one to sort of challenge him. And he goes, Mr. Blair, you're not having that good a game. I think I'll sit by me. Shane was our leading scorer, second leading scorer. We're playing Batesville 3, thank God. So he puts in the young guys more, and granted, me and John got to start. But Kelly Naylor, I think, scored double digits. And he's like, Weber, you can keep coming back all you want. Jay Taylor got in. Jay didn't always get in much.
Maybe that's why Steve didn't come back after the first time.
But Steve was, he only got to be our coach one game. And then he had so much always working. He was multiple jobs.
2 jobs.
2 jobs.
18 hours a day.
Yes, nonstop. Had a family. Just got with Melody then. That was right when they got married. Because Wes came to some of our games. And so Steve coached just one game, and then Dave White jumped back in. And Dave has been at St. Michael institution, coaching at grade school. Actually, an excellent grade school coach. Yeah. Ron Webb sent a message, and we're going to go into some of the messages that's been sent in by CYOers this week. I'll get into that as the program goes on. And will you watch our time?
Sure, yeah.
Start from about an hour for now.
Sure.
Anyway, so Dave White coaches us, and we went out. We really found our stride. We had a good team. I always said if that team would have had what we did in our years of traveling somewhere, getting more practices, that we definitely could have maybe won that deanery because we were really solid. Gary was awesome. He averaged about 14 a game. And me and him kept a journal of every game. And we couldn't find that, obviously. We kept a little journal. Me and Gary had a big sit down on Friday and went down memory lane. And back in those days, Jay wanted to make sure I definitely gave prompt. There weren't many coming to the game. Did your mom and dad ever come to the game?
I think I came to 1, maybe 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
My mom and dad came to a game we had here against St. Peter, one game. But Jay Taylor's mom was our first fan and our fan almost every game, all of our 3 years. So Kay Taylor, Thank you. We didn't draw the crowds we did later on when we were back in the gym. And so we didn't have many fans, but we were appreciative. But Gary's mom and dad came a lot, and they later moved to Arkansas. So we went out that year and then get in the tournament. And back then, you didn't play everybody in the league. It was sort of a jacked up schedule. And we draw the undefeated Oldenburg team, who was undefeated first round. And we play them over at the Sunman Gym, where remember that we played at the Sunman Gym.
Yep.
We used to call it Monday Night CYO. That's where you played the Monday games. So or some of the games. So we play them, and like Gary mentioned, we got behind early. They came out and dumped a couple. They were tough, and sadly they beat us. I think we made a game out of it at the end, but there was a paradox there that I'll mention in some of these other seasons we get into. That it was Super Bowl Sunday. We're 0-3 on Super Bowl Sunday yet, by the way. And Super Bowl curse.
Eddie had to get to watch the game.
Yes, but we celebrate with Eddie at one of the games after our one loss. But anyway, we lose, and me, Todd Phillips, and Jay Taylor go back and watch the Redskins Raiders Super Bowl at Todd Phillips' house. Marcus Allen's famous run.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I remember.
yeah. So that season was a success. And then, any questions, any story? Do you remember much about that?
Other than the shirts and just
Okay.
kind of getting things going.
Do you remember our one play together at Morris, the top of the key?
Where we threw it back and forth about 12 times?
Me and John wound up on the wing, and John was at the top, rotated to the top. So Eddie would have liked this. Or Dave, I don't know if Dave White liked it or not. He didn't care. Me and John just did like 4 passes back and forth. Finally, John just is like, enough of this, chucks it, zip, makes it. We're like, that's the way you do it right there. Dave White just kind of like drew it up, boys, keep it going. And I think Gary Lawson said, was you guys trying to stall, or what was you doing? There was no
second fence.
Yeah, there was no stalling, man. But anyway, that season ended. It was a fun team. And boy, like I said, we were really always into CYO. Next year, 85, 86, me, John are back with Jay and Kelly. Dan started. Went with Dan to buy a new pair of shoes. You got Rick Ertl on the team, Jimmy Berkeley, Danny St. Clair. I mentioned Rick Ertl. Kevin Amrine came back, and Dave White coached. But we just couldn't get it going that year. We had a good team, but the gym would be shut down a lot. We would go to practice, couldn't get the gym, call it a practice.
Didn't we have like practices after CCD classes
Yeah,
or something like that?
we
On
did
Wednesday
that
night?
some.
Yeah.
We did anything we could just to get a ball in our hand. But that season didn't go so good. I remember we went 3-8, if you want to be technical about it. And every game that we lost was pretty much a thumping. But we had good players. We had John. Rick Earl was a good player. Rick played every game that year. As his senior year, he had to stop because of work. But anyway, that year ends, and I don't remember all the details, so we don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, but a very important moment in CYO history.
Eddie Monster came.
Eddie Monster was the mean assistant coach at St. Peter's with his brother-in-law to be Kevin Bauman. Bowles was always like, out of the way, boys. And Eddie's like, get your shit together, boys. Oh, we don't cuss on the show. Get it together, boys. He's the one chewing their butt. They made it to the championship game. Remember, you had Brad Stacy,
Yes.
Mark McCool, Sean Hall, Sean O'Connor boys, Neil Dudley. You guys had a good team, and I think you got beat by Oldenburg too, didn't you?
Rob, probably no better than I do.
It's been 40 years, buddy.
Keep preaching, Rob Allen. Keep preaching.
Well, Eddie was the evil assistant. And originally, give props to our boy Brad. Brad was going to coach with Ed. But Brad was going to work and then go to school.
Right.
But Brad wound up going to school then full time. So Eddie was the boss. And I do mean the boss from day one. And I remember that we had a few extra guys try out. One of them's a friend of ours. One practice was enough for him.
Doug Kuntz.
And Joe Calvin.
Joe Calvin.
Joe Calvin.
Joe Calvin.
It was like Joe's like, okay, this isn't for me. And we practiced somewhere with the Lou Wallace.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Over the old Lou Wallace across the street. So Joe out.
Yeah, Doug out.
Doug out. The rest of us, Rick Ertl at State, Brad Hofer came and played.
Yes, yes.
They didn't play his kind of offense.
Eddie was the boss. We had John Kuntz, myself, Jay, Kelly, Dan Walter, Richie Bondissel.
Yes.
Became a great player. Rick Ertl and Brad Hofer played, but Brad farmed a lot. Our good friend Brad. Brad farmed a lot, and Rick was always working. They had milking, they did, and he was like, guys, I just can't make the games much. So Rick was done about mid-year. So we wound up with 6 players. And Ed, what do you remember about year 1? We went 7-4, by the way.
Yeah, it was a great learning experience, and the group of guys we had, I mean, everybody was dedicated, which was important to me. I mean, Rob, this is the guy that was, I believe, running the railroad tracks to continue to keep in shape, right? And because we were running up and down the floor, and like you said, we really had no bench because we were so depleted as far as players, but everybody got plenty of playing time, I remember that.
Well, Jay might see that difference. Jay said, and Dan Walter has one story. I wish he was here.
Yeah.
He always wants to know why he benched him one game. And he goes, Dan, you had an attitude. He goes, attitude? That was my worse than anybody else's. But Eddie told me a lesson.
Asking about attitude.
Eddie told me a
Well, that
lesson.
goes back to
Dan asked
kind of
about
Bob Knight stories. If you know when you're on the bench, you learn a lot.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's motivating.
But it's bench relays message.
But Dan always wants to know why.
Brand gets butt off bench.
He said, Dan, you needed it. Ask Eddie. I will ask Eddie. But
He's still kind of sideways about it.
But Ed, what else? Just tell us about probably the guy you remember the most on that team.
Kelly Naylor, yeah, Kelly. He was kind of a joker, whatnot, but
Perfect hair.
I mean, we had, you have different personalities of everybody, in that team
Richie?
and whatnot, and we were trying, we also tried to scrimmage some guys that were graduated out of school, just to give us some competition because the deanery, I mean, let's face it, St. Louis kind of ruled that deanery.
State champions that year.
They had 2 and 3 teams yearly, so they had a feeder system constantly, and it's like, we had to do everything we could to get enough because we're trying to get practice time in. The scrimmages helped us to get stronger because we were playing against some older guys, and you had to go in there and pound, John knows you had to get some elbows into some people,
Legally, though. Legally, I can't say legally now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Rob, we'll get into some reffing stories from Rob up there. Because I would say Rob and John and Kevin Walters reffed the most games of CYO ever. And so, that was the first year they had an all-deanery team. And this guy here made the all-deanery team, so congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John was our center.
He was the center.
We even had an alley-oop.
Number 7.
Oh my
Number
God.
7.
You know what? When we called those plays, you were always, the ball was always there for him, right?
Not when I was point guard.
Well,
That was my least
Jay.
favorite
It must have been
play.
with Jay.
Jay actually could make the pass. Eddie moved me to point guard about the last quarter of the season. And I was averaging probably 12, 13 a game. When I went to point guard, I was barely getting 8 points.
You're in my office now.
But Ed, your rookie year, I still got half of that game. We got beat, sadly, in the championship game. No, first round game against Batesville. We draw the state champion. They won state that year. They had Chris Hammerly and that Scott Lyle guy, and they had a great team. And Jim Flutterman, we remember Jim.
Oh, absolutely.
Jim. They beat us. I had half of that on tape. But you got to have a VCR to play the tape.
I got a VCR.
Okay. Well, it's still on tape.
Now the archives.
There's a picture of you sitting on the bench, red polo shirt with a towel over your shoulder.
Right.
He was kind of Jerry Tarkey, besides Bob Knight. But we all graduated, and Brandon's got my notes right there.
Oh, sorry, I'm just looking at them.
And we made a compile here. I'll try to get people's names. quickly
I
without.
have one guy to talk about, but he's in the 2010.
Okay.
I got
So, CYO was going to keep going, but we all were done. We're all seniors. So Eddie starts fresh.
You forgot something during our time.
Uh-oh.
You and I jumped over to St. Peter's for a holiday tournament.
We did.
Yep.
Me and John Kuntz actually got to play one game for St. Peter's.
Okay, that's when Batesville would have that
Holiday tournament.
That's
I got a
right.
picture of us.
That's right. Yeah.
So we jump over to our evil enemies who really weren't. But Val said, he started us too, by the way.
Yeah.
So we go out and have a practice, and we play Batesville, of course. But we gave him a game, and me and John were at St. Peter uniforms on, so we had one career game. St. Eddie was in the stands. He wouldn't let you sit on the bench. Val's like that.
I was banned.
He was banned. But we had a lot of fun, and we did have both had pretty good games. Yeah. But Eddie stays with it, obviously, and he had to start the team from scratch. And the key to this is a bunch of sophomores came in and got the living crap kicked out of them. And I mean the living crap kicked out of them. But it changed their CYO world, and I'll get into that. The team members that I remember was like Bert Eversole, Todd Collins, Craig Phillips, and here was all those, Matt Moeller. But these sophomores were Eric Abrams, Eric Deitch, Brett Ferguson, and Kevin Dorfline. Well, the season didn't go so good. I think we won 3 games maybe. Eddie let me assistant coach. I wasn't much of a coach.
Oh, you were a great coach.
It was
But-
the assistant coach fault.
Yeah.
You got a winning record with us. You got
But-
to blame it on somebody, Ed.
But Eddie was sort of like, this is our, thank you. Because Bert played good first year of the three-pointer, by the way. And Eddie and Deitch already, Bert could hit him. And I heard Deitch could already hit him, but Eric was so small that, he grew bigger, slender, so the next year gets in, and that team says their goodbye, but those young guys stay. So this is going to sound like an insult, but the next year's team, 87, 88, going to say it was Eric Emons, Eric Deitch, Brett Ferguson, Matt Moeller, Kevin Dorfline, Steve McCreary, who, by the way, came over from the high school team, Mr. Half Court Shot. Hey, is that Adam Henson? It is. Hey, jump in here, sir. We got a late arrival. You got room for him up there?
Yeah.
Jump in there. You're going to be interviewed here in a few minutes. Got Adam Henson joining the show, one of our CYOers.
Get there.
Up there. Adam, as I say, it's when it's your turn. Talk loudly. Talk loudly.
Squeeze in the middle there. So
You don't know who yet may walk in that door, but we're glad to have Adam here. So also, do you remember, Eddie, that Larry Morrison, Mike Morrison, and played, and his freshman year was?
I don't remember.
First 4-year player. And I don't know how we'll ever get enough stories because we won't have enough time for it. Doug Walters' freshman year. And guys, how will I say it? For the leadership, for the ability, for the toughness, and that Doug had for first 4-year player we had. Number retired, right, Ed? Number 10?
Yes.
There was never a more, maybe Jamie Sarlin. There was the rawest guy. Doug was nothing but learning how to dribble a ball, already had athletic ability. I don't want to say mean, but tough.
Aggressive.
Let's just say aggression was 100% part. And as a freshman, as his season went on, he was the team enforcer
Oh, no.
as a freshman. But the guy who I want to mention, the thing about that team, and at times it wasn't so easy to accept the next year, was Eric Abrams. I'm going to use Eric. Eric was a guy who was always big. He was 6'3" as that sophomore. He was already up to about 6'3" and getting bigger. But Eric really struggled with just coordination. And midway through that year, it clicked for him. And he became one mean son of a gun. He figured it out. And he went from maybe being a guy who struggled to a guy who immediately dominated. And he was meaner than a snake. The thing about that team was Steve McCreary was individually best player on that team. Steve had came over. He was one of our non-Catholics. Had done well in high school for BHS JV team. He was going to play varsity. Maybe not as a starter, but he came over. So he's our best individual player that year. But Brett Ferguson died. Brett was, for a guy that's that big and skinny as a rail with a mustache. And this picture, guys, I'll show that to the camera. He shaved the mustache. It didn't look like the same guy.
I bet it did.
Everybody told him to grow it back. He'd had it since 6th grade. Brett was one of our captains, tough as nails. But that team developed something that was a little more common in CYO. Definitely a mean streak. Because they had gotten the butt whippings, and there was no grace about running up scores. It was dog eat dog. It was blood fast. It was not friendship league. Let's just say that. Ed, would you agree?
Absolutely. Yes. But I'm trying to think. What was that the year we had started? When did we start our 2 team?
That's coming up.
Okay. All right.
That's when the scary stories start.
That's when the scary story.
But that team that we're talking about gets better, makes it all the way to the Deanery Championship.
Yep.
And I'm going to go rogue here and get this in the camera. That's a picture over at the old Batesville gym. And again, Larry Morrison contributed. Boy, I gave Mike a hard time. I wasn't nice to him. Later went to West Point. Graduate of West Point, Mike Morrison.
Miniature Davy Jones.
Yes, looked just like Davy Jones from the Monkees.
Yes.
God, I feel bad because I
not bad. This
picked
guy looks
on
like Davy Jones.
I picked on them guys bad. But that team gets to the Deanery Championship with the coaching of Ed. He figures out how to work with Abrams, and Doug had gotten better. Eric Deitch was coming into his own. Steve was already good. We make a comeback, and if I remember, we only lose that game by about 2
So
points.
if I remember right, it was Batesville we were
Yeah.
playing. We got down big in the first half.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, that's when we had a conversation at halftime. You know what, guys? There's only one way to eat an elephant, one bite at a time, right? So you try to cut the score in half by the end of the third, and then in the fourth quarter, that's ours, right? So we came back in that game all the way to get up in that game, I think by 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem we had such a mountain climb, we just ran out of gas by the last 2 minutes. And that's how we ended up losing. But that team, I was so proud of the courage and the guts. They laid it all out on the floor.
Well, and I remember Doug Walter laid one of their guys out. That's a famous play that was on Eddie always videoed. And we would replay that. It was one of their starting guards breaking away layup. Doug catches him, and I'm not joking, folks. He literally spins him around and tosses him into that stage. And there's a picture of Doug just walking. They call a foul. Nope. There was no flagrant. And the guy is literally losing and goes to the free throw line and misses both shots. And he's like this, and Doug's like, bring it
Where was that?
on.
What was that one played at?
That was at
At
Batesville.
the old,
The old dark gym.
Yeah.
And boy, I wish we'd had Ron Cowan repping that game. We could have used a little help with that. Yeah. We weren't getting no benefit of the doubt.
Was there 3 seconds back then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's all he would have called.
But that aside,
What the?
that team mostly comes back as seniors, and this is getting into it, Ed. The 88-89 team. Abrams is a senior. He's at a new level. Eric actually went out for the high school team. Okay. They had Tom Shuttlecotty, Lance McCool, Doug Halka. Barton says to Eric, and Eric, I apologize if this is wrong. I think he tells Eric, you got a chance to make the team, but you got a limited chance to play. So Eric came back, because he'd already told Eddie and me, look, I'm wanting to try it. But he came into practice, walks into practice. He didn't say a word. And all he did was Eddie a lot of times would have people run a couple laps just to get warmed up. Abrams is in front of the line. And follow me. It was no bull crap. Like, I'm back. Fergie's a captain. Eric's a captain. Steve McCreary didn't play that year, but Ebrams is like, follow me, boys. So the thing is, that team changed a little bit. You got Eric Ebrams, Eric Deitch, Fergie, Kevin Durfine, Mr. Defense, and rebounding, remember Dorf? Doug Walter was a sophomore. Then we got Eric Gilman, Carl Cotter, and Pat Chase. Pat's been a friend of the show since the beginning.
Has he really?
Yes, and it's called and sent things. And not called, but called through Facebook.
Yeah.
So, got a scrappy bench, and then we decided to have a B team. CYO2, the White Sox, who was the ultimate sacrificial lamb to the mighty A team. We had to play them our first game here. I think Eddie was generous. They only beat us by about 50. Could have probably been 100. If that's Sensei. I was head coach. But we had, and we called them the White Sox. That was our name. Robbie Lee was our center, and I had him jump against Ebrams. Robbie's 5'7", Eric's 6'5". Right, Miss Chisholm. No. Ken Saxon, the airman. Robbie Turner. What else do we say there? Eric Tucker, Will Failure. I wish Will could have been here today. Jason Royce, Jamie Solid, and Mickey Lee. That was my team. And I tell
You got a
you,
Samoan on there.
we had first of the Samoans.
Yeah.
And Jamie,
USA overtime goal we won.
Yeah.
Sorry.
didn't know Jamie. He walks in, this nice kid. Now he goes, I have never touched a basketball. And I was like, not many of that team. Robbie had played, Eric had played. But I basically said to Jamie, I want you, this is old St. Michael Gym, I want you to stand on that line, and until I come talk to you again, I want you to dribble right hand into half court, and I want you to dribble back left hand. Well, he gave up on the left hand. Right. So Jamie, that I wouldn't even like include him in at first until he could do that part. But I'll get more to him in a little bit. But first to the A team.
Roll back.
Okay. Actually, it was pretty good. But this team's built for a championship. And we were, by the way, U.S. Hockey.
Yeah, they just won in overtime.
So we just say,
He was too worried about this.
congratulations, USA does anniversary of Miracle on Ice. USA, gold medal, folks. We can stop the CYO episode to say that. Herb Brooks, Mike Ruzioni, Craig, the new guys, and they beat Team Canada, didn't they? And ladies champion and USA hockey, folks, #1, Cincinnati Cyclone.
Cyclones.
But anyway, back to CYO. Eddie's got these guys a lean, mean machine, and there was nothing friendly in our practices. If Eddie was working on the press, and if we got lucky to get the ball by him, Ed chewed them out. That made him meaner to us. I remember arguing with Ebrams, getting into it. I was mad at them for just being. They picked on Ken Saxon. Ken Saxon could jump the airman. We called him the airman.
Oh yeah, action
But I give Ken so much credit because he didn't haul off and punch
Tell you
somebody.
about it too.
And I was like, even Doug was like, look, I like all you guys. Doug Walter was trying to be the nice guy. And he goes, that's not me, I swear to God. But Ebrams was like, no quarter. Eric Deitch, no quarter. But they played that in their games. And I remember we played Batesville then. On Monday night CYO, we'd never beaten Batesville. And we pulverized
Oh, we
them.
throttled.
And it was no holds barred. Eric Deitch kept hitting threes, coming down the court, doing this. He never showed emotion. And it was, in words of Leon Searcy Huffy, it was a slaughter. Jim Flutterman just sat there and said, I'm going to take it. But we're not done with his story yet. But in the meantime, that's our first year we go to Terre Haute. Yikes. George Kinyanovich, the Terre Haute, whatever they were. Eddie wouldn't let us eat. You remember that? Do you remember we had to bring like snacks?
Is that what it was?
He was into a health thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, Eddie, I got a peanut butter sandwich. I'm just coaching. I'm eating it. Come on.
Well, if
I don't have to drink
well,
Gatorade.
that was the first story. But I think didn't we all sleep in my house on the floor and everything? Wasn't
Maybe,
that
but
year?
we drove Ron Tallheimer's and George's vans up.
So that would have been when T was playing.
No,
right?
no, not yet.
Not yet.
You mean when we spent up there? When we
No, I'm talking about when Ron Tallheimer's van was used.
Well, we used that several years.
Okay.
But we didn't spend the night up there yet. Those stories are coming.
Oh, I know.
But it's a long day, and it snowed. But we did beat the championship game, and it was a little bit rigged. George set us up to play them again, and we weren't supposed to play them. And I remember we were mad after that game. George Kenyanovich was the coach, and we meet up with him again here. He was the Terre Haute area. CYO was kind of like it said 4 areas, but I think it might only been 3. But anyway, that team gets going. They're great. Get in the deanery and we get to the championship game. And we're playing Batesville in the championship. Well, we throttled them by probably over 30 points. So I don't want to say it was overconfidence, but they were getting the Batesville game. It was working. We were not playing well. And the tempers are starting to rise. The angst is rising. We're getting a few bad calls here and there. Eddie's like, this cannot be a repeat. This is bull crap. We're better than these guys. And Kevin Dorfline, again, we'll mention Kevin. Kevin was always a starter. He was a big guy like Eric, not as big. But Kevin could barely shoot a free throw. But what he could do was get every rebound and guard the other team's sometimes best inside guy. He just was smart. He knew where everybody had to be.
He was a force to
He
move.
was. He could block shots, get any rebound. He didn't turn the ball over. But in that second half, I remember that you got Carl Cotter in right away. And Pat was a scrappy guy, defense. Eric was good at both. He could score a little. But Carl Cotter was a new player that year. And Carl had a mean streak in him too. But he was a rookie in our eyes. But because he was a senior as a first-year player. And we always was kind of like, well, he's kind of, like I thought he pushed my young guys around too much. Like, you haven't earned the right yet. But he earned the right in this game. Because Carl comes in, and they're in a zone. And we're hurting. We're down easily 5-6 points. And he, if I remember right, in 4 possessions, he hit 3 threes. And we go from down to a lead. And it just took us to whoosh. And then Eric Abrams is scoring. Deitch is back. The press is working again. It just got us over that lull. And, well, we won the Deanery Championship.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what else do you remember that I'm adding into that team?
Well, as far as that team and that whole deal, so I think the year before, Rob, you and I had come heads together and kind of like, you know what, if we're going to be competitive and win this deanery every year, we've got to get more than one team because we've got to have a feeder into this to continue to bring the kids up and to be competitive. And that was our whole thing. And then we started bringing on the press, the half-court traps, and the whole thing of our agenda was is that we were going to try to wear teams down for 3 quarters that they didn't have anything left in their legs in the fourth quarter because we practiced a lot, right?
Yeah.
And that was part of our thing. If we're going to do this, we're going to take it serious, and we're out here to win. We're not just here to roll the balls out and say, okay, guys, let's go, you know? So, and that team had a lot of heart. There's no doubt about it. They had earned their, I don't know what you want to say.
They definitely earned their stripes.
Oh my gosh, they had their bumps and bruises along the way, and that was their year. There's no doubt about it. So,
And again, they weren't shy about being anybody's buddies.
right.
There was not a lot of friendly handshakes. Fergie, I remember, took a less of a role scoring that year. But there was never a guy that was meaner out on the court when he had to be. And people at times were a little bit scared of Ebo because he could elbow a little bit. He knew how to play a big man job.
Absolutely.
And he kind of intimidated. And Deitch was player of the year. He was voted player of the year. And Eric was 3rd. Yeah. And we get to the playoffs. If I remember, we had a bus. We went to the playoffs in a bus in Indianapolis. Sarah Scott, Scotty's my cuff.
Yeah.
Sarah Scott, Jim. We played George Kenyanovich again, Terre Haute. Looked like they had a few new guys on their team, if I remember. But they beat us. But Rob, did you ref already at that time? Do you remember refing like Abrams and them? Okay, I didn't know if he was
I
already
think Mike
refing.
Sarles did a lot of refereeing for us back then, if I remember right, I think. Yeah.
Well,
And then John, had you started by then?
I think I had Evo a couple.
I think you
Okay.
did, yes, that's right.
well, and Bob would fill in sometimes. But then a word about that B team. That B team, through perseverance, getting its head kicked in.
Oh, absolutely.
We finally won our first game over in Lew Wallace. We beat one of the Greensburg teams. And we celebrated that like state champion. But the thing about Jamie Sarlin was, you heard my Jamie story. Jamie, about our second last game of the year, we go to Millhouse's little gym. And I don't know if Adam ever got to play there, Huff did. And they had one rim then that was crooked.
Oh, yeah.
It literally was crooked.
Rim or ref?
What?
Rim or ref?
The ref?
Rim or ref? Said crooked.
The rim.
Really good, yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
The ref actually was pretty good too. But anyway, Jamie suddenly is getting fouled a lot. So he goes to the free throw line, and he'd scored a basket by now. He gets to the free throw line 20 times. And he makes like 11 free throws. And he just kept throwing these shots up and bouncing them off that bent rim. And I said, are you even looking at the goal? Because he's just flinging it up there and it's bouncing. He had 16 points in that game. We thought he broke Wilt Chamberlain's scoring record. I mean, it was like, oh, he scored 16 points. And we got our butt kicked out there. But that team wound up, we called Jason Roystock for defense. We made him an animal. And then we put him for our deanery game. We're like, you're all on this kid named Parker from Greensburg too. So Jason's practicing. There's no way he'll score on me. No way. Comes the game night, Jason don't make it. He's not even there. Doctor defense or shut down defenders. Nowhere. Wound up had a family thing. Forgot to tell him. So I'm like, well, boys, our game plan's a little different. Ken Saxon's like, I'll do it. The airman.
Yeah.
He becomes the new Doctor Defense. And really, no offense, Jason, he did a pretty good job. And we win that game. And then we had to play Batesville 1 before you guys did. We tried to wear them down, and it didn't work. They pulverized us.
Well, you know, the
great
the
effort.
aspect of it, our two team was a big benefit to that one team because, like you said, they took the lumps in the practice that made the first team better, right? Because we had somebody to practice against.
Remember when Jamie knocked the light down in the gym? We couldn't get the press in. Was that your year?
First year.
And next year, we'll get into Huffies. This just shows how practice would be. And we did run a tight ship, but they're pressing us and we can't get the ball in. So Jamie takes it out of bounds, throws it against the backboard, and it ricochets right back at him. So there's no setup or nothing. Jamie takes it and chucks it. Literally chucks it and knocks down one of the lights.
Well, you told me
What the hell out?
You told him
Here
to
it
get out from
comes.
underneath the basket the first time. You're like, get out from underneath
Get
the
out
basket,
from underneath
dude.
the basket.
So he throws it straight into the ceiling.
Right in the ceiling.
Yeah.
Here comes the light.
Yeah, light down.
And if anybody remembers when that happened, you were like, you might as well just die
I
right
tried to
there.
sneak out the
Because you're
side.
dead. Father was a little more forgiving. But trying to quicken the show up a little. We are back again the next year. CYO 2's back. Mike Huff's here with us now. Jamie Sarlin, Eric Tucker, Mike Huff, Brendan Bergen. No, that's the later year.
How's the later years?
Will Falinger, Lance White, Roger Purcell's first year, Andy Walter's first year, and Danny Padgett Johnson Rosenberger's first year. So we had a CYO team that was going to get better. We knew that too, team. But Ed had to revamp the team again. And luckily, his cousin joins up the team. We had Doug Walter coming back, Eric Gilman back, and Pat Chase. And Ken Saxon came over from the B team. But Ed, do you remember that it was just make sure. Casey Holman joins the team from the high school team. Had been on a sectional winner. Greg Ingerman, the new Mr. Attitude, in a fun way. Brad Ellis played. Eric Gilman, Rob Turner played, but Rob had to quit midway through the year. And Pat Chase and Ken Saxon. Now that team, do you remember what that team did though in the deanery?
Well, we ended up getting beat by St. Anthony.
We did, but they were undefeated in the deanery.
Oh yeah, I know that was an
Yeah.
unbelievable team. I think was Casey not maybe the player.
He was one of the top players, him and Doug Walden.
Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, we just it was a fortunate circumstance. I remember Ken, was it Ken or coach?
Yes, he lost his dad.
Died, and it's like, I remember we controlled that game in the first half, and it's like, I don't know what he said to those kids in the halftime, but it's like, we couldn't do anything right the second half.
And they did win on the last second shot, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that team went undefeated in deanery,
was a
which
great
we'd never
team.
done before.
No, that's right.
And Greg was a scrapper. Casey was just good all around, inside, outside. Doug was a junior. Doug was, I think, second in the player of the year that year.
Yeah.
And Eric was good. Pat was fighting like always out there scrapping. But that was we had two main heartbreaks, and I've got reports I got to talk about, guys who sent me messages here in a minute. I'd say that was probably one of our two of that era's most hurtful losses.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because we thought we were in the running for a deanery championship again. But the B team, Mike Huff, his first year, he's feeling his way. He got forced into playing CYO because if he played softball, he had to play basketball, right?
Yeah, I wasn't into the basketball. I
Didn't have much choice.
I didn't have much choice. So Rob Allen and Eddie Monster came up to me and cousin Dan Rosenberger at the football game. And Ed and Dan were talking about when practice was starting. It was going to start next, maybe Monday night. I don't know if you remember, but it was after like a Connors early season football game. And then Rob goes,
Whoa, now don't go anywhere. This is EP June here, and I know we left you hanging. But we are very excited to bring you part 2 of this episode at the usual time next week. We've got lots more in store for this show that we couldn't possibly contain it into one episode. Stay tuned, and thanks for being a fan of the Coach's Corner Crew.